Hey guys, gonna start soon.
All right.
1 minute.
Walao you guys one time banyak kuat
Kuat, eh?
Dia mau pecah.
Okay.
Okay. So it's
Sudah pukul 8
really,
nanti.
really hot in Germany. Belum lah, not yet lah.
Sekejap.
Hmm.
Okay, lai lah. We're gonna start, guys. All right. Counting down.
All right. I'm with you all.
Hi guys, good evening. Sudah lama never go live, but welcome to TKSS. What? I cannot hear you, uncle.
Huh? You don't hear me?
Very soft lah.
Very soft.
I'm good.
Okay.
I think
Your tone is good.
Yes.
No. You're really soft. I'm not joking.
What?
Who, me?
No. Daniel.
Me.
It's okay, what?
Okay, now better already. Now better.
Yeah.
I think a fast.
Okay, guys. Sorry, guys. We just very ad hoc one. But welcome, guys. Good evening to all of you. And it's been a while since we went online. We have Yatong with us tonight as well. So
Yeah. It's been a while.
So quiet. Yeah, it's been a while. Really.
Been a while.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're actually
Yes.
broadcasting live from 3 different locations. Eric is he's in KL. I'm in Penang, and Yatong's all the way down south in Perth.
Yeah.
It's
The connected world.
Yeah, it is. So we have plenty of friends already tuning in. So it looks like it's going to be a very interesting topic, very relevant to the present day. And we'll just flash the title first before we say hello to some of our audience. So tonight's topic will be how to find talents that stay. So we're talking about hiring and retention.
You never ask the people whether they miss you, uncle. So long never see you. Right?
All right.
You like the attention, right? We're gonna say a quick hi to the audience lah. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Later we talk about this Gen Z, Gen Alpha also. Said, welcome. I know it's very hot in Germany. 30. It's also very hot here. We reach 36 sometimes also. So yeah.
It's cold here.
Yeah.
Long is in
it's in Perth
and 16 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Despite
I'm jealous. Chris, welcome. Tago.
Yeah.
Everybody is well.
Hi, Chris. How are you? Wow.
Karen. Yeah, KL, Perth, Penang. Yes, going to be fun lah. Sorry lah, Sao Yong. This one, I don't know. I tercuri your topic but it's okay lah. You curi mine, curi yours. Sometimes we just make use of each other lah. You suka kan?
Make use of each other. You should know. Okay, y'all go.
Not curi lah, tiru lah.
Tiru lah. Ini CK ah. Is this CK?
Betul. CK Kong.
Betul. CK Kong. Okay. Hello, CK.
Hello.
So wow, I mean we have a lot of people. So thanks again for tuning in, spending some time, and to listen. The three of us, 3 hours plus, are going to talk stuff about the hiring as well as retention, how to find people or talents that stays. So what are your thoughts? What about you? Because all of us are working at some point of our life. Some of you are business owners. So business owners, how do you find talents that stays? What's your secret sauce? And then for those of you who are job seekers, what makes you stay? What makes you sign up with that organization in the first place? Not just about the money, isn't it? Or is it? Let us know. All right. So we'll checking the comments in a moment's time. So yeah, and then we're gonna just cue the intro. No.
Haven't recorded yet. It's live. That's why I can talk to you. Later it will be recorded, but now it's live. So feel free to chat with us, Jackie, and welcome also.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Jacqueline, hello.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So let's get going. So we'll stay tuned. All right, we'll be right back real quick.
After this. Okay, guys, welcome back. So sometimes LinkedIn is a little bit wonky. So if you see us repeating ourselves again and again, right, then chances are you may just need to hit that refresh button and get everything started going again. And
We lost Yatom. He went down south. Just a little. I think he must have leave the studio accidentally. He'll be right
but
back.
it's okay. It's okay. He'll be right back. But today, the first topic that we're going to talk about is what do actually talents want. Okay. I don't know what you guys want. Okay. Whether are you guys the employer or the employee, but chances are everybody has their own needs and stuff like that. Welcome back, Atong. So
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So what do actually talents want in their career? Okay. And any ideas, guys, that I mean, if you've been actually in the role or you've been in a corporate or setting for a while, you realize that people move, they jump, or they leave the company after a while. Okay.
Yeah.
But some do stay. Hi, Izwan.
Exactly.
Hi, Liana.
Hi, Liana.
So yeah.
Speaking
So
of that, we have some responses ready. So let's just take a look at CK. So I mean, as straight as it gets, we need to pay bills, we need to survive. He needs to put food on the table for the kids to grow up, and that's among the things that drives us to continue staying on. I mean, that's among others, right? So okay, very valid. And hey, Sam, how's it going? And Saeed also shared, or rather, he asked, "Isn't keeping talents more problematic than finding or hiring talents in the first place?" Very apt. Because that's exactly the same question that business owners ask themselves quite often. Is it easier to find new businesses or to retain existing ones and grow from that? Yeah. So it depends. The answer to that is very broad, depending on what industry you are and what the circumstances. And yeah, we don't have enough time to cover that. But you know what? Good question. So I keep it coming. Wow. There's a lot of high and high and high and high. And
Yep.
everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Like that.
Yep.
31
place
counts.
to grow professionally, reasonable compensation. Reasonable, see, Nathan is actually very, very down to earth. Reasonable. He doesn't ask for high. Just reasonable compensation package opportunities.
Opportunity at work and outside of work. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah. The first two is common as well, and opportunities at work and outside of work. But now, outside of work, it gets a bit tricky again, depending on the environment that you're in. Are you in the startup? Are you in the MNC? Or are you your own business owner? So it depends, because if you are working, chances are you're going to be occupied for most of the time. So I'm not saying that it's not possible to hustle on the side, but yeah, you got to just thread along the lines very carefully as well. There are certain restrictions you may want to clarify. Yeah, pay.
I think
growth.
I think it's a good idea to discuss a little bit about what is talent. How do we differentiate them from a normal employees? I think that would be a good starting point.
Yeah. Saeed actually asked this, what definition of talent is. So, Uncle,
yes,
how do you define this talent that you're talking about?
Now, in a day, I'm in the HR industry, all right? So on a HR perspective, you're talking about candidate, right? That's a term that we normally use, and talents as well. And that's also another word, all right? So just keeping it simple, the definition of talent is basically an individual, or rather individuals, who are fit, that are able to comply with the requirements that's required of that certain role that you're hiring for. All right, and that's just a very simple, in a nutshell, explanation. And obviously, the rest depends on what you're looking for. Depending on your work culture, is this candidate culturally fit into your organization? How do they complement the whole entire ecosystem, instead of just having the hard skills to complete the job per se? All right, so does that explain? Let us know. Let me know. Right?
Yeah, I think it's a very in-depth explanation of what talent is.
I always associate the word talents with I always associate talents with kids. Yeah, because this is one word that is always found. Yeah, the children's kingdom. We always say, let's
older guys don't have talent anymore.
No, we always say, let's nurture the talents of the younger one, the kids. Let them find their talent. So in that sense,
right.
So it brings me to talents are people who like to explore. They don't sit still. They're inquisitive. They always explain, because they have this uniqueness in them that needs to be brought up into a working culture. So they are always exploring. They don't fit into a normal employee sort of profile, but they are really there, and they drive things using their own uniqueness, their own self-confidence, that they can deliver something that is extraordinary. So that is how I see a talent. Yes, they're hungry, and they define a lot of things on their own. They even don't believe really on structured job description. Rather, they do what they think is really useful for everybody. So it's good for the company, it's good for them, it's good for their management. However, they just want to drive it from their angle. So they are very confident. And this is why Steve Jobs says, when you engage the talent, it is not to teach them how to do the job. Rather, it's for them to teach us how we can do our job. Because they are unique. So in that sense, this is where my starting point would be if we were to talk about, talent. Yeah.
And that's one has just popped a very, very apt and valid comment there, where everyone has different objectives and priorities in life. Absolutely. And to keep a talent to stay cannot be done using a one-size-fits-all approach. Yeah. Ooh la la. Yeah.
Sharon's the sentence also need to help them to grow, just like what you say, Yatong.
Yeah. And if you look at it, why in movies we always see people are very talented, and they're playing very different role all the time. So they emerge into that particular role. If you look at Chow Ren-fat, he can be a gangster at one movie, very convincing as a gangster, and yet on the other hand, he can be very convincing as a cop. He can be very convincing as a rascal. He can be very convincing as the god of gambler. Why? Because he has a talent to project these sort of things that he has in him. And I think this is where, when we talk about talent in the employment, it's something similar, that nothing holds them down, and they are just willing to explore and experiment. That's how I see a talent. Yes. Yeah.
So, Nathan, what's he saying? So, to give more context, what he does at his current job gives him visibility to open doors towards opportunities outside work as well. Not mandatory. Okay, right?
Ridwan as a fresh grad, okay, looking always for the best working environment. I mean, this is a perfect example from the young ones. Young talents, always environment that motivates them to work rather than just bamboo them with work, or just treating them like a cow like that. I mean, we do have a cow in our company, but that's a different cow altogether. but yeah. So we
but be careful.
Motivating, encouraging is
Yeah, it is, and that's a very valid one. But be very careful, okay? The definition of best working environment. How do you define it? And obviously, everybody has got their own unique definition of it. My quick word of advice is that while you pursue your dreams, go for it. Look for your dream job. Look for the best work environment or whatever best that you want to find. But sometimes you may also just be realistic. Most of the time, we can find the best. Or the perfect environment, it's always the closest fit, right? The closest fit environment that you're looking for. So just bear that in mind, okay? But all right, wish you best of luck, by the way.
I think interesting when Daniel talk about working environment. I think the working environment is co-created by you and your boss. Take me for my example.
Everybody together, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes. I work very well with my ex-German boss. Because why? We sat down and we talk about how each of us want to work. And when there's overlapping, know that this is one area that we should work. And if there is some area that could not overlap, how are we going to manage that?
Which actually answers Johnny's question. So how do we actually deal with stagnant talent? I mean, we want to provide them opportunities for growth. We cannot just just focusing on they will have skills along the way, okay, but we do also need to be open to the suggestions. We need to understand them, what do they want, areas that they want to grow as well, so that they can actually grow together with the company, not just okay, you're good at this, you just do this and no opportunities to grow in some other areas as well. So I think people are progressive now. We need to allow growth within the company.
I look at it, talent are very self-driven. They always on the dot on self-development. They know how to develop themselves to be of value to the organization. And leaders of talent is what? Create that opportunity for them to excel. Rather than restrict them. But rather open up, create that opportunity, create that environment, allow them to do experiment, allow them to take risks with the borders that you put in. Then you can see,
which is exactly my response to that. So Yatong, you mentioned a very keyword there, taking the risk and learn from that. So Johnny, I'm going to tie up your question along with Said's comment, where he says, in his opinion, people can become talents if the company provides the right environment and knows how to develop and create talents. But it's probably rare. Actually, it's not rare. It's uncommon, but it can be more and more common these days. So I'm speaking from experience here. So coming from where I'm from, doing what I'm doing during the day, so the business that I'm handling, there are a lot of talents, a very strong workforce that I have got at my disposal, but there are some of them who've been at the same role for years. So when I arrive, I actually pop them the question. So, what's going on? How have you been for the last 3 years? And you've been doing what you're doing. You're good at it, yeah. But I'm just curious, aren't you bored? Was there any opportunities to grow, to climb? Then I probe some questions. Or could it be some things that they are done certain ways and they may not present the opportunities? Okay. And I ask him everywhere, did you ask? So what Yatong mentioned as well, it really makes sense because opportunities, development, it requires two to tango. Okay, so while there may be opportunities present, but if the individual does not present or showcase himself, or position themselves as interested, it's not going to go to them. All right, you need to have a sense of ownership of our own career and career growth. Yeah, it's not going to come to you. If that person is strong, can be done. I mean, he can excel in that role, but because that person is quiet, whereas this person is hungry for it, less skilled. What do you think? Who would you hire? Let me know.
Swee Lin give you the answer already. So for the people who are quiet, right, I think it's the ownership of the organization to actually look. I mean, not everybody is talkative like uncle like that lah. Blah 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 that kind of stuff, right? But some people are genuinely quiet, but they are behind the scene. They are doing all the hard work. So we actually need to be able to recognize the hard work and the effort they put into their task. And of course, in the process, also make sure that there's learning and development opportunities for them to grow. Don't just utilize them as just workforce, but as an individual who are yearning to learn more stuff and to get better in terms of self-development as well. So this is also important.
Out of curiosity, Yat Tong is with us tonight, and what a joy to have him on board. So if you have any questions, all right, just pop your comments right in, okay? Then I'm going to ask Yat Tong some questions later as well. So let's address Azhar. So he says, for him, someone with talent is someone who is already showing abilities to do things beyond his current job scope, beyond his current expectation. Brilliantly said. There are two sides of the coin to this comment. There are some individuals who I know, my peers in my previous experience. Some may say, "Hey, this is not my job. Why should I do?" Versus, well, okay, it's not my job right now. It's not in my JD, but well, why not? It gives something to learn, to pick up, and best of all, it gives visibility. Now, I'm not asking and encouraging people to just do everything, like jack of all trades to cover. So there's a fine line to that, okay? But if you do it right and you do it tactically, you're actually creating an elevation of your profile, shining an adequate light into what you do. So even though to answer Swee Lin's question earlier, even though that person may not be vocal or eloquent, you let the word shine, do the talking for that person. How about that? Yeah.
Let's have Yat Tong answer this question also. There's one. This one. Yat Tong, do you worry that talent will leave the organization after giving him and her all the training and opportunities?
Well, why worry? Whether you give or don't give, if she leaves, that is good for you, because why? Then you benchmark yourself as the talent developer. You then draw talents into you. You draw 10, 2 leave. You still have 8. What's wrong with that? If you don't train them, they will still leave. And then nobody is going to join you because you are never going to develop your people. So, organization, businesses are still social entity. You still have a role to play to the society. So you are developing talent. You let people go out, serve others. You are still recruiting, because you be benchmarked as the employer to go to, because people know that, if I go there, I know that I can be made to be someone in the future. So, you are drawing talent. You draw 100, not 100 is going to leave you. You draw 130, leave you. You still have 70. You're still having a net gain of doing it. So never be stingy and talk about, no, I don't train my people because they will leave. Remember the cost of not training your people. Because when they are well trained, they become a talent. When they leave, they are not going to badmouth you. They're going to talk good about you. And that is a reputation capital for you. And you're not looking at just one side. They can even come back to you, network with you. They may even bring business opportunity to you when they're onto the other side. No, you never lose. To me, you never lose. You will lose when you start to be stingy and not train your people for fear that they would leave you. They will still leave you. Remember, your job is to grow people. When you do not have that opportunity to grow them further, why restrict their growth? Allow them to go and tell them at any time when they succeed and they want to come back, bring this organization even higher.
Right.
There you gain again. So that's how I view it,
And
maybe very unconventional, but this is how I view it.
This question was exactly the question I had in mind to ask you, Yan Tong. So Sharon popped the cherry on this. So how is talent identified in the military during your time?
Well, of course, one way that we identify talent is always the top performer. The top 2-3% of our unit, and then all of us will put into a fast track sort of career growth trajectory, and then we compete with the rest of the other people. So it is always about tapping onto the top 2-3% of top performers, and then from there, then they are being growth to become commanders. They are grow to become what we call the general staff. So all these people are being prepared to be, generals, to become talent that would then bring the organization forward. So we have fast track career path for them in the army. So it's always about top performer. So how do we know? How do we identify top performer? Your performance when you are sent for a career program, because in the military we have a lot of career program. Assessment by your commanding officer, and of course then the assessment by within your own regimental corps of officers. So again, it's a stringent selection process and elimination process until the last man stands, and then you begin that fast track trajectory to make it far in the organization. That's how the military does it.
And based on that explanation or sharing, right? So would we be safe to say that we take it for granted that all these commander select, all right, or commander elect, they are pretty much on par in the character. They've got the hunger, they've got the personality and the leadership qualities. Now it's a matter of execution in order to showcase what they're all about. And that is the fine line that makes the difference who gets selected or not.
Yes, precisely. But interestingly, if you look at it, the other part of it, of the when we talk about talent, now when you promote people, because talent, you want to promote them on a fast track scenario, so you still need, the older guys to partner them, so that you have diversity of views, because the talents, they are very gung ho. I mean, if I'm a talent myself, I'm very gung ho. You are never passive. A talent, you never find a passive talent. They are very gung ho. They push and push and push. So you need that counterbalance. You need that counterbalance to slower things down, look at things in a broader perspective, because a talent can be like a racehorse. The moment the gate is open, they will just push and go ahead. So you need to have the good jockey who knows how to control them and do the rest well. So it needs that balanced approach, the team approach of top talent. At the same time, you have the seasoners who can help them to mature along the way. So talent need two parts. One is the talent, the other is the maturing process, because ultimately they are running the whole business ultimately.
Okay. All right. Okay. We realize that everyone who are tuning in, watching us right now, we're still stuck on the first one, and we kind of.
I think we need to move on to the next one.
Yeah, but it's a good one. All right. So we kind of covered as well. How can we fulfill
a bit. Probably we want to recap a little bit how we can fulfill their needs. Okay. So when it comes to talent, right? I think these days money is not their main priority. Maybe the older generation, I don't know how old is old lah, but we don't really. I mean, at least from my generation, at least what I noticed is that we don't really prioritize money as the only sole motivating factor in our life.
Give me your money. Give me your money. Can I okay one?
You sure?
Yeah, I give you my money. Okay. Anyway, carry on.
Kacau lah you. But anyway. Yeah. So I mean, yes, money is of course important to many of us. So we still need to put food on the table and all those kind of jazz, right? But at the end of the day, there is a plateau to how much money we earn. And once we reach that plateau, right, we probably would not actually look for money anymore. There are a lot of other things that we look forward to. So in this case, how do we actually fulfill their needs? In order to do that, right, we really need to take the time to sit down as the employer or the bosses or the leaders, whoever you want to call yourself as or so. We really need to make the extra effort to sit down and to listen to your talents. Meaning, of course, you don't go into the meeting expecting, to just give your input and they got no output from them lah. We really need to sit down and listen to their stories. What do they want in life? And we try our best to actually to fulfill their needs. Okay. I mean, yeah, sometimes we are financially restrained and stuff like that, but some things don't really require money. there are a lot of flexibility in terms of working arrangement and stuff like that. Time for caregivers.
And I got a comment for that. Yeah.
So these are the little things that don't require money, but just a little bit of sacrifice from the company's end. I mean, knowing that they are also human beings, they are also individuals. We just need to allow them to voice it out, because most of the time they won't voice it out, because like even for our team, although we say that we same, but they still treat us as bosses. Like it or not, it's
there's a barrier lah. I mean, which we can understand.
Asian.
Yeah.
So, I like what you said just now, Eric, about some companies or organization may have cost constraints and may not be able to actually execute some of their growth plans, right? But there are some things that doesn't require cost at all, right? Let me give you an example. By the way, if you hear the white noise, I'm very sorry. It's raining very heavily at where I am right now, so that's the rain. So, example of a change, all right, that we can deploy without any cost yet, that could elevate the profile and branding of the organization. Dress code. Now, a lot of the professional white-collar industries still require a formal dress code, right? A long sleeve shirt and slacks and pants, and shoes, right? So listen, is that something that's really required? And I've been hearing that the reason of, we got to meet clients and we got so and so, we got to meet a certain audience and whatnot. How about this? Rather than meet clients, listen, some of our clients are not even dressed up that way, right? I'll give you another example to relate to that. Those that may be in sitting in factories, all right, or they're dressed up in roughneck wear, jeans, and just maybe polo tee and safety boots, man. So imagine how awkward is it that we're going to be meeting them in a meeting fully dressed up in slacks and an Oxford shirt, for example. Rather, consider this. Instead of using the reason of meeting clients, how about we rephrase that of mirroring clients? So some clients are actually dressed up in that way. Sure, we mirror them, all right. But some of them, they're not that way. They're more into the production area where safety is key rather than looks, right? Safety boots, for example. Yeah, why not? We can just wear our Timberlands or any industrial safety boots out there to reflect. So at the same time, for those of them who are not meeting clients at work, right? Rule is, a rule of thumb, make it standardized. No round neck t-shirt, polo tee, smart casual. That's fine. No torn jeans, by the way. Right, and in case if there's any surprise visits from clients or whatnot, just make sure you have a standby suit jacket there. It look pretty good as well too. You have some short sleeve shirt or even a polo tee with a suit jacket draped on. How about that? No cost. So for those of you who are in the Gen Z generation, consider what I've just mentioned. If an organization practices that, would you prefer to join that organization or not? That's among the culture.
I think.
Got to draw a bit of line there. I mean, let me draw a line first. So I'm on the shorts and slippers kind of guy. And I mean,
hey, lift up your legs and see.
The one. But the thing is, right, I don't really encourage in certain scenarios to wear short and slippers to work.
Of course not.
Or it really needs to also boils down to a bit, be able to guide the young ones to know that when is the right time to showcase yourself and when's the right time to be presentable and stuff like that lah. There is no like die also must wear tie suit and leather shoes and stuff like that. But we need to have a time for the right time for the right dressing lah, so to say lah. So
you meet clients in shorts and slippers.
That's the. Okay, sorry lah.
One way, back to that question, how do we fulfill their needs? Talent has a lot of energy. Talent has a lot of enthusiasm. Talk to them. See whether we can do a change project within or not. That is where, they become very engaged, because now they are taking ownership of what they want to do. I give you my own example. I was program lead for business leadership in my old employment. I'm responsible for Asia, Australia. we have a rollout of global program. What I do, I local it. So I took the program, I localize it to the local environment. So I local it, So I still maintain certain global standard, that is mandatory, but I context it to a local content and I drive it from a local content. And then things, become much more better because why? People can get associated with it. People get engaged with it because they are talking about their local environment rather than just talking about what is happening in Germany. So then I use my energy, I use my enthusiasm for the program, but I localize it, and my boss is happy with it. So this is where your bosses now sit down and listen to you and allow you now to channel that energy, that enthusiasm into a change that is good for the organization, because organization has to change. Organization has to be good for today and they have to be good for tomorrow. You cannot be just good for today and forget about tomorrow. So that is where change has to be, proactively taken. And this is where talent are useful for organization, because they can see and they can feel because of their energy and their enthusiasm. This is what I would advocate companies to do.
Yeah. Now, speaking of how can we fulfill their needs, it's not just about having an action plan or an idea or a concept in our mind on how to execute, push, right? But it's a lot of resources involved, and among the biggest commodity is time, investing time from within. Because listen, a career trajectory or career plan, right, whatever you want to call it, requires some time that involve both parties, the people leader as well as the individual contributor, to have a mutual understanding and mutual agreement of what has been set ahead according to the individual contributors' strong points. Okay, everyone will have their fair bit of weaknesses as well. There's only so much we can do to actually tone it down, but rather it then boils down to what will be the focus. Would it be to focus on on your key strength to sharpen it further? So time. What's the time? There's so many contexts of it. The time required put in to actually sit down and discuss and draw up a plan. The time that we can foresee. When is this going to bear some fruition? And what's the timeline after that? Will there be a milestone? Will there be a roadmap?
It's actually a lot of time, like a lot of time. And the thing is that when it comes to spending time, right, as the company grows bigger, right, nobody want to spend the time to go and sit down and listen to people's problems, you see. So that's the hurdle that a lot of people face. So who's gonna be the one sparing the time for these talents so that they are heard?
I would say
do it. Yeah, Tong, I want to hear from him.
Yeah.
I would say flip it around. Instead of formalizing time to sit down, informalize it. You never know the frequency of teh tarik session, the frequency of sitting down over lunch, talking about things, and a lot of ideas can be shared. Because these are still times that can be spent worthwhile. Instead of having lunch alone, go down, join them. Teh tarik session. So instead of formalizing times to have this dialogue, to have this systematic things like this, do it informally. And sure, you are going to feel that a lot of information is being shared when you informalize it, when you go down, sit down, listen all the time. So
exactly what
don't go down there and want to be the boss and give instruction. Go down there, be a team member, listen. You get a lot more things that what you can do for the business. That is how I would do.
And Kevin seems to agree with you as well. Taiko, thank you so much for tuning in. And he agrees, at the end of his comment, it says, not necessarily have the same need. Teh tarik, roti canai, rather than 5-course lunch. Okay, boleh.
Jom. Boleh. Yeah. We all like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what else? Wow. Hey, you know what? Thank you so much again, for your comments coming in. Keep it coming, all right? We are checking them out as well too. But I guess Eric and I, even Yatong, possibly will have some homework to do. If you can't address all your comments during this broadcast, not to worry. We will engage and respond back after this, okay? So keep it coming as well. I'm lost, man.
Yeah. Today a bit hardcore.
But not way. There we go. Time. Yeah. Time. It's just tiring, right? It soaks up energy. And yeah. So let's continue from what we've just talked about, or rather what Yat Tong mentioned and agreed with Kevin. Be a boss, leader, or human. How? Antoine. Macam mana?
I mean, at the end of the day, right? I don't know. I mean, it's very hard to define lah. I know people call you in Malaysia. Everybody is boss. Okay lah, boss. I'm a leader. Going down. So boss, leader, and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about human beings dealing with human beings, right? We're just talking to another person, right? It's just that we are in the field a little bit longer than the ones who are joining us or the younger talents who are joining us, but all we need to do is just be kind and care for another person a little bit more. Okay, I know that work needs to be done. Okay, things needs to be executed. Manager has sales target to hit and stuff like that. But in hindsight, if we were to actually be able to relate to one another, be leader and human, we'll be able to relate with one another. You'll be surprised, right? How much more effective the person who is actually, not to say just following your instructions, but more towards to emulating who you are and trying to actually achieve something that you are also trying to achieve in the process. So be a boss, leader, human. I say at the end of the day, right, it's all about just being human beings, treating one another a lot more nicer. Yeah.
Every organization involves people. It's a people business.
Correct.
No matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
But let's hear it from Yatong. Yatong, military, all about toughness, all about really hard situations, and I can't even imagine how the mental health of the active servicemen go through. And back then, during your time, what such nonsense of mental health? There's no such thing. People talk mental health with xiao. So the question is that in that situation, all right. I'm pretty sure all military servicemen are human as well, right? What kind of examples that you could actually share with us, laymen and civilians? How do you do it? I mean, you were a major. How do you do it?
Well, in the first place, is why choose to be a boss, a leader, a human? Why can't we be all? Just know when you should be a boss, when you can be a human, when you can be a leader. Be all. I mean, that is the only way, because yes, leadership is taught in all university or business school, but at the end, up to you how you want to be the person who will help others to be better than what they can be. That's all. So if you ask me in the military, when I'm in the ops area, I'm the only officer. Can you imagine?
I thought Yatong wanted to say I'm the only human there.
Truly, I tell you this story. Yeah, every officer, we are given a Batman. He is our personal assistant who helps us with everything. Now, if you are cocky, you'll be drinking tea made with stocking water. You know what that does it mean? They soak all the socks into the water, do the tea for you, because that is how they teach the officers who is cocky.
Uncle,
have you been drinking a lot of tea? No? Why do you have to do that? For the imagination there. Anyway, back to Yatong. But Yatong, what you said just now makes sense. So Kevin, again, he chimes in. We're all people, all right. At the end of the day, we are bosses or whatever positions of leadership that because of the power invested upon us by our employer. What an apt line over there. And that also means that we as leaders, by the power of investor or whoever, we may just be a leader by title, but are we really a leader? And just to tie up what Yat Tong has mentioned, in a military context, yeah, you may be an officer, but if your men does not have confidence in you, I'm not sure if they're going to follow you into the battlefield, right? And
You see, military officers, we all don't manage activities. We monitor milestone, and then we manage the decision. Because we have our various hierarchical commanders. We have our platoon sergeant, we have our section corporal, and they all are allowed to make decision in their own area of responsibility, and we just manage that decision. I cannot be a corporal, I cannot be a sergeant, I cannot be a lieutenant, I cannot be a second lieutenant, I cannot be a lieutenant, I cannot be a captain, I cannot be a major, all roll into one in job responsibility. So I have to trust. The only way I trust is by managing all this decision that they have to make, and make sure that they go through good training to make good decision, and then things will go on smoothly. So again, my responsibility as a commander, ensure that they're given good training, know that what they can do, what they cannot do from the training, then you harness their responsibility, make them good decision makers, and then they piggyback with you and you piggyback with them, and then the whole unit become a coherent unit that is able to handle responsibility well. Because everybody now is, like a switch watch, every part is synchronized with each other. So you become a systemic organization. You support each other. They support you, you support them, So you have them at the back, they have you at the back. So you know that you are safe because you have all this support structure, including decision making at the lowest level.
And it doesn't require a title to make one a leader. Well said, Sila.
No.
It's all about inspiring others with our actions or even with our decisions, our choices that we make to dream, learn, do more, even become more. Who knows if we can leave a legacy, that person may be a better leader than us.
I'm sure we all look
here, right? Sorry, Ayatong, sorry, interrupt again, right? But I'm curious of how Ayatong can address this. No, when people have no people skills, right? How? I mean, common sense know that we need to treat people well, lah. But I do agree that there are certain people whom, no matter how hard they try, really kind of don't have that.
Just skill, socially awkward.
No matter how you train them, how you try to but they just don't have the people skill to relate to one another, because everybody has different subset skills and they have different characters and pillars, right? But what happens if those who have no people skills but in the higher tier up management, right, and they know common sense that they need to be they need to be kind, they need to listen to people, but they just cannot do it, then macam mana? How can we actually solve this issue here? Pray. Well,
I don't know how to answer that, but let's hear it from Tom.
I'm curious.
When you deal with bosses like this, or you deal with leaders like this, is to manage a difficult boss. That's the only way. So now you has to be his right-hand man. So both of you should be able to work together as a team, think out the strategic terms, think out the strategic plan. You be his stakeholder manager to manage his stakeholders. So you become his communicator. You help him to manage expectation, manage key stakeholders, yet he can still function. So he is there for whatever reason. He has his strength. Make use of his strength, and you cover his weakness using your strength. So then you will see that the team works really on strength, complementing strength. So it doesn't mean that when he cannot communicate, that's the end of the world. No, there are still resources within the organization, within the team, that can complement his weakness. So be his communicator. Talk to other people. And all he has to do is, he sit there, he just have to endorse what you say, because it goes with his plan. He just have to say, I agree to what Yat Tong says. This is my plan.
Okay, I agree to what Yatong says.
I agree. We agree. But yeah, you know what? That's a very, very good one. And Yatong just reminded me of excerpt in the Bible. I'm not going to go religious, okay? But the story of Moses, he's not a good communicator for those of you who are of the faith. And but yet, it's one of the prominent characters in the book. Yeah, Lena, pass the job to someone else. Hubby used to say to our staff last time, I need to say no, especially my wife is the boss.
Ini tai chi.
Ultimate.
Back to what I said just now. The moment you start to be the anchor for that difficult boss, he will be developing your career, whether in the current organization or in another organization. He will develop your career. He will push you up because he knows you are someone that pushes him up. He will bring you along. And that is a good thing that you could do, because now you know that you have a leader who needs you as much as you need him. So complementary relationship.
Wow, Christina asked this question. Christina, you're a subject matter expert in this. By the way, thank you so much for tuning in from Singapore. Christina is a proven track record in this. But anyway, she asked, the boss is such a poor communicator, then how can we and he communicate? For him.
This one another difficult question. At the end of the day, right? If he doesn't receive, right, maybe it's time to just bye.
Which some
does happen. People do leave because just cannot get along with the bosses and stuff like that. But of course, we got to try first, lah. We exhaust all our ways to try to communicate with our bosses. If it doesn't work, then we just have to just make the decision to find better paths.
What Yatong mentioned earlier, it makes sense as well too. I mean, we'll do our best, and obviously going back to the basics of what I mentioned earlier, everyone have weaknesses, but rather we focus on the strengths. So we develop a way of how we can actually coexist in the ecosystem by elevating ourselves, yet supporting our non-communicative boss as well too. But then we're all human, as all of us have agreed. There's only so much we can actually take in as well too. Our resilience may be tested. And depending on how the situation may be, it's a matter of time. You call it time. You've had enough, and it happens. So
if you ask me a choice between working for a good boss, popular boss, and a poor boss, I go for the poor boss, difficult boss. Because it tested you towards your limit, and as a leader, this is where you learn and fine-tune your own leadership skills. So you go through the hard thing. That's why they say when the tough gets going, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So this is how you develop yourself. So your boss is going to throw you a lot more things. You have to be efficient in order to be effective. So then you fine-tune a lot of things now. Your time management, your people management, everything. That a bad boss allow you to learn.
Before we come out to be leaders and boss, we got to work for Saki boss.
I can tell you, a lot of entrepreneurs, they would have once worked for a very bad boss, and they learn a lot more things. That really become their repertoire of skills. You work for a good boss. Yes. And they let you see things that is very different, So if you ask me, I will work for a very lousy boss, because that is where I can learn the most and really am able to stand on my feet.
So how long should we be sticking to this lousy boss until we make the decision to say bye-bye to him?
One thing that when you work for a lousy boss is make sure you prepare his CV. When you're ready, send out his CV to headhunter. He is not yours. Get him headhunted away, and then you take over his position. If you love the company, if you love working in the company,
What cow?
Best.
Okay.
All right.
Best.
Yeah,
All
we're,
right.
we're almost out of time here, but again, we are all of different generations tuning in, I believe. So maybe we can address
Probably one last question here, lah. The address this one. Are
yeah.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha
Clarify.
that
What is
different?
alpha?
Alpha is like above 2000s already, lah.
Wow, they're only like what 22 years old only by now.
Yeah lah, there lah. Are they really different? No lah. Not 22 is below 20 lah. Like maybe SPM ke, below 20s ke. Then the Gen Z is just above 20, 25 around that region lah. So
Well, we're not even there. We're not qualified anymore.
you long far away already lah.
So Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, anyone? Anybody here? Let us know. How different both these generation. What do you want? No, apa lu mau? Let us know. In this ever evolving world and different environment, different things here and there, social media, wow, it's just coming and bang, changes a lot of things. So what is it that you want? Are you looking for satisfaction? Define satisfaction, define a dream job, define your passion, YOLO, or you only live once. What is it? Yeah, we learned that as well.
Same here. Get your boss headhunted away. Well, that's the best one.
So we'll try We'll try our best to address this as well. But for those of you who have any input as well, let us know. Eric, what do you think? You're lecturing and
I believe they are. Because I've been lecturing this younger generation, so I believe they are a different breed altogether. They are very vocal. They know what they want, and surprisingly, unlike the older generation, even from my generation, we kind of be very. I'm not saying that they are not, but they are very direct with their words. We kind of go around the bush a little bit, filter a bit, butter a bit, so that it doesn't sound so impactful. But the younger generation just say what is what on their mind, and I think it's a good strength for them because they really know what they want. So as for us in the future, when we are hiring these younger generations, right, then chances are you get a very direct answers from them. You just got to sit down and ask them, so what do you want? What do you need? And they have no mercy. They'll blast it to your face. And it's our whether we want to fulfill their needs or not is entirely up to us now. But if we don't, then chances are they are also very practical thinking. They look somewhere else because they are actually generally quite a comfortable generation. Money to them is somewhat secondary because most of them, they are pretty much buffered because of the previous generation. So they are sheltered, they are shielded, they have food on the table. So they don't prioritize that as much as the previous generation because they are generally already quite kind of well to do in that sense. So are they different?
Yeah. And don't misjudge saying that because their parents are rich or they have the financial buffer and these are spoiled bunch. No. Well, we agree to disagree but they do use what they have already to move ahead. But
I see two things that really influences and mold them into a very different generation from earlier generation. Two things: era of knowledge and digitalization. So these two bring them to be having a mind of their own. And that's why what Eric says, they would tell you what is in their mind. They have a mind of their own. And they're quite sort of competitive because why? A lot of them are gamers. They compete. So in that sense, they are always not competing with others. They may be competing against themselves.
Yeah.
So that is why you may see that they are unsettled, but no, actually they are competing within themselves. It's a daily thing, So when they finish work, they go back the game and they compete against themselves. They're not competing against the others. So it's built in them that they have a mind of their own. You feel that they're unsettled, but actually they are not. They are just gaming with themselves, pushing that envelope further and further and further and further. And I think these two things stood up for me for the generation Alpha.
Makes sense.
Knowledge, digitalization. Yeah.
knowledge, digitalization,
and compare. More importantly is the competitiveness they have in them.
Yeah.
They always
Yes.
like to be front.
Yes.
So if
Wow,
So-
it's already 8:09 p.m. It's like real quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys, for
Yes.
spending the time tonight with us. It's been a very wonderful discussion to be able to just dish this out. Yeah, I'm Gen Z and working in Ramadan, and it's wonderful for us to swing. Yeah.
True.
Okay,
So
there we go.
I hope
Thanks
you
for
guys
having
got
me.
something of this. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yatong, you're part of us now already.
You're no longer a guest. Yatong, you're
You're
part
no
of
longer a guest. Yatong hasn't gotten the use to be.
So,
Of
you know,
course,
listen,
So, am I a talent now? Am I a talent?
yeah, of course. A mature talent.
very experienced, and he's been very, very. He's got a lot of contribution, and he has contributed to us in a lot of ways that we can't even quantify sometimes. So coming back to all the comments, thank you so much. And you guys have been great. The engagement is high, and please, we do apologize in case we can't feature or even address your comments during the broadcast, but keep it going even after this broadcast ends. We'll check it out as well too. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Eric, Atong, any
Thanks a lot.
closing words?
No, but thanks a lot, guys. It's been a long while since I went live like this, but it was great having you guys around, interacting with all of you. So very
My
nice.
last word. Today I read the post from Rizal Aziz about the herb planting. Talents exactly like that. Different environment requires the different plant requires different environment. Find the environment for them, and then they will grow.
Betul.
So what kind of environment to find for you, Eric?
Environment for me to grow? No lah, not fine for me. Fine for the kids lah.
Oh, not for you grow. So you're not growing anymore. Okay.
I got very stunted already.
Fell for it. Oh my god. Anyway, that's all the time we've got. We've already exceeded already. So again, thank you so much for watching, and take care, stay safe.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pauline.
Thanks.
Thanks. Kamsia. See you guys around.
Kamsia.
Selamat malam. Have a great evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.